sure.
But I think Roy touched upon it in the group earlier when we were talking. I mean, it's a very difficult situation because you both of you guys have had a chance, possibly, or not necessarily the easiest chance to further your career when you were really young, and you couldn't do it because your family would have had to move to the place where the football was. And the difficulty in Gib is that all of our young people are going to get decent jobs, and then they're going to be in the same situation as you guys. How can we get kids going full professional? Exactly what Lee said before, they'll have to go away. So possibly we should be looking at, I don't know, a scholarship somewhere so we can pay to send the kids away. What do you think?
I think, Neil, that's one of the biggest issues at the moment. I mean, first of all, I think what needs to be said as well is there are, for me, since 2013 up until now, something I've noticed amongst our young players is little by little that they are realising the opportunities they have. And there's a few players now who are extremely dedicated. I've got to mention like Jace Oliveira, for example, Jack Sargent, players who are extremely dedicated to the sport and train hard and just, they love football. I think more of those kind of players that are appearing now. They're realising that not to play football at the level that international football requires. I think first of all you need to be an athlete. That's the first thing. You forget your football talent, especially playing for Gibraltar. Forget the football talent at the moment. I think first of all you need to be an athlete. Then make sure, obviously, you have to have a balance of it. But I do think that players now are realising that you can't just say, "Oh, look, I'm good at football," but then you're going to Ibiza every summer, parties every Friday, every Saturday. I don't think, I think the younger generation now are realising that to be a football player, you need to be dedicated. You need to sacrifice, and to defend them, I think that a lot of them are doing it. Going back to players moving abroad, I believe that a lot of them have to start younger. I think that they're leaving it too late. I think for me, 18, 19, too late. For me, they've got to go before. This is just an opinion. For me, if it would be a possibility for young boys to, for example, when they're 14, 15, where they've just maybe either going to do the DCCs or going to complete the DCCs, say, look, can I find an academy where I can go for? I don't know if
surely they're going to need support for that, mate.
I'm saying, I don't know if clubs could support that, if the GFA could support that, but we need to create links between the Gibraltar's young football players and professional clubs, where we are sending our young, most talented boys, and say, look, because what happens is at 18, 19, the majority of local boys are going to study anyway. So why not? Why not, instead of going at 18, 19, why don't you leave?
And 18 is too late. You just said it's too late.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So instead of leaving at 18, why don't you leave at 14, 15? Do your GCSEs in the UK, in Spain, wherever it is. You sacrifice 2 extra years. You do your, you've got a youth contract with Charlton, whatever club you want to mention, and you're balancing your studies, which are as important or even more important long term, because let's face it, the chances of them making it are none. That's the reality. But at least you give yourself the perfect opportunity to really give it a go of becoming a professional football player. I think there's too many players have come and gone through Gibraltar, in my opinion, and haven't been given the opportunity of really making it. I go back to my generation, and for example, Lee. If Lee would have had the opportunity when he was 15, 16 and said, okay, Lee, look, I'm going to send you to a pro club, and he's got the opportunity of 2 years and being trained, in my opinion, Lee would have got to the top.
I've said it to Neil and to a couple of friends and some people in England. I mean, yourself, I sent you the WhatsApp, I sent Village when Randolph, who was his former player, I sent him the header and what you do for a living, and his reply was legend. And I told him, and I pick out Lee precisely because if I would have had the level of contacts and the people that I know when Lee was 17, 16, I'm certain, absolutely bare minimum, he would have made it in the championship. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. But like you say, I agree with everything you say. I just think that perhaps 14 is a bit too young. But you're right. We have the education. That's why in Spain, I think it's a bit difficult, Roy, because we have the educational vacuum. They don't do GCSEs. So it would have to be the UK.
No, the reason I say the UK is because
No. It's true, because you cannot you cannot deny. I mean, look, it's difficult enough as it is, and only probably 10% of players make it. Anyway, you have to carry on at the same time with the educational platform, because otherwise you're literally killing off and ruining a boy's career, because he'd end up 18, 19 without a contract with a pro club, without any education, minimum education. So, I mean, I fully agree with absolutely everything you said, and I think that that's what we should be doing, because like you rightly said, 18, 19, it's too late. It's absolutely too late. And we have the nice problem, in a way, of the support government has on players, and we lose a lot of them to university. And in those 3 years, unless you're a very, very dedicated man, and you mentioned one of them before, Jace, he's really mature and he's carried on all 3 years. But let's be honest with ourselves, a lot of them, when they go to the UK, it's the last thing they have in their minds. I mean, it's changing, and some of them do it, but most of them, the first year is just a student life. And that's a problem also, which affects local football. After the 3 years, they've been rusty, they haven't been playing, they come here, they're not the same players when they left.
So Kenneth, what you're suggesting is that there should be some sort of links set up between the GFA maybe and
an academy, a club,
mid-range teams in the UK.
Yeah, lower championship, top League One. We should aim, because high up, I mean, these clubs, they're ruthless, Mick. I mean, you get any club in the Premier League, and they dump players at young age groups every single season. And unfortunately, although I believe we have very talented players here, rough diamonds, like Roy has said, and like Lee has said, we need to prepare them. I totally agree with what Roy says. 14, 15, the best ones, maybe there is a year we don't have anyone available, because again, we know, unfortunately, Gibraltar, like all small places, less nepotism. There's going to be problems with a father. Oh, mine's better than yours. Why does he have to go? There has to be a correct structure. There's got to be input from abroad, because obviously you cannot impose also on a club from abroad that they take a particular player, which perhaps in my view and your view is good enough to make it, and in their view they don't have a need for that particular
Kenneth,
player.
Surely they would have to be paid, because you know as well as I do.
Absolutely.
You know as well as I do. If a player now goes for a trial in, let's just say Burnley, the kid that's been training and been in the Burnley academy since he's 8 years old, they turn around and they go, he's not any better, so we don't want him. So
that's why I'm agreeing with Roy.
We're gonna have to subsidise them, aren't we?
No, yeah. But in that sense, of course. I mean, I'm not saying trialing, because I don't believe in trials, and you rightly state. If you look at local media, when players have gone on trials, they've been 17, 18, 19. They haven't gone any younger. I totally agree with Roy in terms of the age we should be focusing them. But of course, look, if we have a scholarship for somebody who wants to be a lawyer or somebody who wants to be a teacher, why can't we have this in place for somebody who wants to be a footballer? The GFA has got a lot of money that comes in every year. It's in their interest too. That's why we entered UEFA in the first place, to be able to develop grassroots football. Of course, it's a money thing. You can't expect a Burnley to fund the kid for 2 or 3 years there. But if you take away that financial element from the professional club, it makes it easier for them to open the door and join. And for them, it's a win-win situation, really.
Right. I think as well, obviously certain standards would have to be met before any young boy or girl is sent abroad on to an academy. We're talking about, I mean, if you're going to be sending them to top academies, the guy's got to be, head and shoulders above anyone else in the local league. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, I can use an example like TJ, for example. TJ, I remember watching TJ when he was under 10s, for example. TJ, since the first time I saw him, up until he ended his youth days, he was completely dominant of his age group. I mean, it was literally a waste of time, him playing football in his age group, because he was that dominant. If TJ at 14 would have been given the opportunity of saying, we're going to take you here, okay, he is good enough to be offered a 2-year scholarship in whatever academy. I think TJ would have progressed a lot further. I mean, nothing against him now. He's doing well. He's won 12 years and all the rest of it. I think he would be ahead in his career today. At 14, TJ was at a professional academy.
Lee, have you got any input on what to do with our young lads?
The easy option for me, if I would have a son, luckily I've got 2 daughters, so I've got.
Don't say luckily.
Yeah, not so lucky later, mate.
Spain is just across the border. I know that now with this pandemic it's hard, but they have the infrastructure that you can still take your kids. I don't know, Posito takes his son to Cadiz every 3 or 4 days, 3-4 times a week.
No.
I think that at the moment with facilities, the training method, the managers, everything, Spain is miles ahead of the whole of the world. We have it just across the border. Just take advantage of it. Take your kid over to cross the border like any other child. You take him. I will take my daughter to dance, to whatever she likes, volleyball, whatever. But if you want to try and make it as a footballer, Gibraltar, there's nothing at the moment for you as a young kid to improve. When you've got Spain just 5 minutes away, where you've got everything, like I said, facilities and everything there for you to try and make it. If you don't, you come back. That's it. The Gibraltar will always be here. If you're good enough to play in Spain, whatever, you'll be able to play one that it's your local. It's Gibraltar. We look after ourselves, but you can come back and play football in Egypt. But if not, try and make it in Spain, which is the easiest way at a young age. And then from then onwards, like everybody said, try and make it or get a scholarship to go to UK because of the schooling, really.
Possibly we should be looking with maybe a pathway with a Spanish club.
Well, it's the word I used before, no? A roadmap. We don't have a roadmap for them. I mean, I agree entirely once again with Lee. To start off, you need to build them mentally. I mean, I know Adrian is one of my best friends from school, right? And when Nicholas was 7 or 8, he said he really wants to make it. What shall I do? I said, look, you're gonna have to sacrifice yourself. Take him to Spain, and look, he's been at Cadiz now from the age of 11, and there's only 2 players, and Cadiz are ruthless. And a lot of people will say, Cadiz is just a second division. Cadiz is a historical team. They are ruthless. Every year, a minimum of 2 get sacked from the team. And Nicholas is still there, and he's 15. But I think we need to do a combination of both. To start off, like Lee says, because if you leave the player here, unfortunately, because of the lack of intensity and competitiveness,
I think we'll have to leave it there, though, Kenneth.
Okay, we
I'm
carry
sorry,
on the conclusion on the other. No.
We're running out of time.
Not the other one.
So I think we're going to have to sign off, guys, and I'll send you another link.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
There's the link.
Yeah.